Hey guys, just before I properly start this video, I just wanted to remind you that my wrap up for the year-a-thon for June, keep an eye out for that because it's from the 1st to the 7th. If you haven't seen my TBR for that, I've got that link down below. But yeah, keep an eye out for that after the 7th so you can see what kind of progress I made in my little catch-up finishing a series readathon. Anyway, welcome to my May wrap-up and currently reading. I thought I'd add currently reading because this is going to be a short video, I already know. So I managed to read 3 books this month. 2 of them were manga and 1 of them was like an ebook thing that I got on a Goodreads like thread called, I think it's made by someone called Dana from The Book Was Better, and her like thread is Read for Review. So basically what that's about, just quickly, every month there are I think 4 books up for reading. What you do is you request it, you read it, you review it, send a link to that that specific thread of the book that you read, and then if you've read it early enough you can receive a new book. But you can't receive any books unless you've linked your reviewed book. Obviously if you've never done it before then they know that this is your first time requesting a book. But yeah, it's a really great service, you should try it out. I think there's probably more threads and stuff like that, so other than just this one, but this is the one that I use and it's really great. But anyway, I'll talk about that book when the time comes. So the first 2 mangas that I read were Rosario Vampire by Akisha Ikeda. I don't know how to pronounce that, I'm really sorry. I read volume 1 and 2, and this is a reread for me. Basically I read it quite a few times over and over again, but I think I only ever managed to get to volume 10 before I just stopped. I think what it was is every so often my friend Charlotte lent me some volumes and then I'd give it back and then I'd just stop reading it for a while and then I'd try and read it online and then I just, oh no, it was just an awkward mess. But I'm determined to finish it, like the whole series this time, and I gave both volumes 4 stars. Obviously I'm not going to talk too much about the second volume too much because I don't want to spoil it for you, but if any of you have read either the whole series or at least up to where I am at the moment, then do feel free to check out my Goodreads and look up my reviews in more detail because maybe you want to see my thoughts and compare them to your own. But anyway, what the manga is about, it's about Skune. He's a human boy and he somehow finds himself at a like school full of monsters, but nobody knows he's human and they're all like disguised as human in order to be able to get along undetectable in the human realm when they graduate from this school, because they have to fit in with the humans. So he has to try throughout the whole school year, or however long he's there, not to be discovered as a human. And there he meets many friends. In this first volume he meets Mocha straight off. She's like in the first couple of chapters. I've always loved Mocha, I think she's the cutest thing. And you kind of unravel as the story goes what kind of monsters they are, even though you're not allowed to tell, like it's against the school rules to tell what your real form is. They find out anyway, but it's really cool. The only thing, rereading this now and actually reviewing it properly, I can say is that, like the only bad thing I can say is that it follows a very predictable formula. So basically the formula is someone likes either Skune or Mocha, a battle happens, Mocha's true form is released, that person gets pulverised, and they're all friends or they're never spoken of again. It's just an obvious routine, and I mean, it doesn't dim my love for this series as a whole, because as I've said, I've been reading it for ages, like on and off, you know, but it's just something I've picked up now as a slightly older reader, and it's a little bit irritating. It's a tiny bit irritating. Also, the characters don't have very strong dialect, but it's enough to, you know, keep you interested in the story. It's just a fun read, and overall, yeah, I really do enjoy this series. So those are the first 2 like volumes that I read or reread in the month of May. So the last book I read, I'm kind of sort of debating whether or not to do a full review for, because I do have quite a few thoughts. It is for that book that I was mentioning before from the Read for Review group on Goodreads. It's called Unclaimed by Laurie Wetzel. I ended up giving it 4 stars, and just to overview it, it's described as a paranormal romance following a girl called Maddie. Yeah, following her, and she has a rather particular life. She was known as an all-star kind of girl. She was good at everything she tried without trying, and everyone kind of just expected her to win. They loved her, they weren't really bitter about it, not many of them anyway. But then after one summer she kind of changes and everyone notices it. She starts to slip, she doesn't participate in extracurricular activities, her grades just stay, you know, average or whatever, and everyone's noticed it but they kind of just leave her to it and muddle along. Some events happen to put her in some danger, and her life gets turned around. Of course, it's romance in there. I just didn't feel like the paranormal side was very obvious. I wouldn't have called it paranormal at all. I just didn't feel that much until like the very end of the book. But it was a fun read. It was quite easy to get through. A little bit addictive, almost addictive like the Twilight-y kind of addiction. And also, if you decide to read my review, there's some other references to Twilight I made. But overall, I did really like this because it's only book 1 of the whole series. I don't know how many books are in the series. If they do decide to put more in this read for review column on Goodreads, then I'll definitely check them out. But yeah, I probably wouldn't buy it as per se. I'd wait for a free copy to then give, you know, an honest review. So that's all I read for May. It probably doesn't seem like a lot, especially because I don't have anything to physically show you. But I'm quite pleased with how I did. So I'm going to tell you what I'm currently reading now. So as some of you may or may not know, I mentioned it in the readathon TBR, I wanted to get started on the A Song of Ice and Fire series by George R.R. Martin. So I've been reading A Game of Thrones. Obviously haven't finished it yet, so thought I'd just chuck it on the end as I'm currently reading. I'm about a third of the way through and it is awesome so far. It is ram-packed with so much action from the get-go. I feel like it's so much easier to read than I was expecting. Like, I've only been reading this for maybe a couple of days and I'm already 242 pages in, so I just find it a dream to read. I love that it's got so many perspectives, but I don't feel lost coming back to them. I kind of can remember their places last and make it make sense in relation to the story as a whole. So I really love George R.R. Martin's writing skills. It's just excellent and I'm totally enjoying the series so far. So hopefully I'll be able to finish at least this book for my readathon that I'm taking part in June. If not, it's not a problem. I've already made a start to the series and that's good enough for me. So I think that's going to be it for this little wrap up and I shall hope to speak to you in a video soon. Bye!